Hello and welcome to video number 3, which is creating your mind map of success. Basically customizing your plan of attack. Let's get started. So the first thing you need to do is get a hold of some mind map software so that you can create a mind map. If you already have software that can do that, that's fine, you can use that. But if you don't, go to google.com and type in free mind. At this point, you can go down here and click on this link, sourceforge.net, and simply click download. And as you can see, it's available for Windows, Macs, and Linux. Download it, install it, because we're going to use it. So I went ahead and opened up FreeMind, and if you start out with a new mind map, if you do File, New, you can start out with a new mind map, and then we'll work our way up by using this right here. It's really not hard to use, even though it has all these buttons. These icons here are simply icons that you can drag and drop into the mind map itself. So don't worry about these. These aren't actually features. I know that can look scary and confusing, but it's basically, you can start with here, and what we want to do is just name our mind map. So if you click on this, you'll be able to rename this to something that you want to name it to. So let's say, for example, that I want to build a list specifically for WordPress blogging, and I want to be able to offer some initial offer that deals with WordPress blogging. I want to be able to sell WordPress type stuff, WordPress plugins, and things like that. So I'm going to say plan of attack WordPress. Now, if you recall the step-by-step process that I showed you in video number 2 in terms of finding a reputable solo ad seller and then email the solo ad, and then of course step number 2, we got visitor signs up for initial offer, and so forth and so forth and so forth. So basically I'm going to just put that all out here. I'm going to customize it to the way that I want to do it. You can customize it the way you want to do it. This will give you the ability to see the whole plan of attack so that you can add notes to it, things like that, so that when you begin to implement the whole thing, you can say, okay, step 1, I got to do this. Step 2, I got to do this. And step 3, so that you have a checklist that you can check off. And that will give you motivation to go and move to step number 2 and the next step and the next step and the next step. That's why we're doing this. So, plan of attack WordPress. If I right click on this area here, you're going to have a bunch of options. Now I'm going to scroll up so that you can see a little better here. So you got the edit node, which just allows you to edit this node here. Edit long node, you can edit attributes, but the things that you'll be using the most are new child node, which basically will be the parent, and then we'll have a child. And then the sibling node is basically kind of like notes that you can add to that specific node. So new child node here, this could be step number 1, which is find a reputable solo ad seller. And then of course we could do a new child node from here. You want to make sure that you do it from the main point itself. You can do a new child node and do step number 2, which is create an email solo ad. And then we got step number 3, which is the visitor basically signs up for the initial offer. So visitor signs up for initial offer. So in parentheses, that's the initial offer. So we'll need to have the initial offer. So we do a new child node, step number 4, and that would be after they sign up, they basically, you can, optional, you don't have to do this, but you can redirect them to a one-time offer. So redirect to OTO. And of course, remember that's optional, so you don't have to do it. Depending on your market, you can do it if you want to. After that point, you need to make sure that the visitor gets the gift. Otherwise, they're going to get pissed off and get confused. So new child node, step number 5 will be visitor receives gift through email. So basically at this point you want to specify, that they're going to be able to receive the gift through email. That way they know exactly, where to go, what to do, and things like that. And of course we got step number 6, which is going to be the first email that they receive. And of course that email pretty much sets the tone for all the other emails. So step number 6 would be email, or email number 1, basically welcomes, gives gift, and then sets tone for the future. So after that, you want to basically move on to the follow-up series, which is part of the email process. So what I would do would be, I would actually create a node off of this, like a new child node off of this. So step number 6, because it relates to step number 6. Step number 7 would be emails number 2 through whatever number, can be 4, 5, 6, or whatever. So these email provide the 4 to 5 free tips or gifts. And then of course we got that right there. And step number 8 would be when we promote the other offers. So from that point we can do step number 8, which promotes offers related to WordPress only. You don't want to promote anything else to that list that is not related to WordPress. For example, if your list is about WordPress, don't go and promote other stuff unless you really feel, you really have done the research and you really know that it has some sort of impact on that specific list. But you really have to think about it and make sure that it all is congruent. And basically from here on out, what I would do next, now that I have the basic step-by-step process, if you want to make it visually clear exactly what everything is, you can click on the first one and then simply go over here and click on 1, and then of course number 2, click on 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, and 5, 6. And then of course 7 actually goes off of 6, remember. So we got 7, and then we got 8 over here. So at this point now you can see clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now what we can do is we can start adding to the mind map. So for example, when you say find a reputable solo ad seller, if you do a child node, you could do a child node, you could do a sibling node. But in this case, I'm going to do a child node. And what I recommend that you do is when you find a good reputable solo ad seller, make sure that you put, website, contact name, stuff like that, because the purpose of this is not just to get you to implement it once, but the purpose of this exercise is to help you implement it once. Once you get it all documented, every time you do it again, you can always refer back to this again and again and again, so that you pretty much speed the whole process up again. So you don't have to think, okay, what do I have to do next time? So find a reputable solo ads seller, put their names, and then if you need to put new child nodes, you can actually other website or other contact info. And of course, number 2, we got create and email the solo ad. Do another child node for that. We can say, okay, we're going to be using Aweber from here on out, and or we're using GetResponse. So you know exactly where to go, and then you can enter, the website URL, the direct URL, so that you can go to it straight away. And then of course we got number 3, which is visitor signs up for the initial offer. You're going to need to know what the initial offer is. So what is a good initial offer? And if you don't know what your initial offer is going to be about, don't worry. I'm going to cover that in the future videos, kind of give you some ideas on exactly what you can create and how to create the plan of attack for that specific initial offer, so that you can do it right, set the tone for everything else. And of course we got number 4, which is redirect to the one-time offer. And of course you can include details about what your initial one-time offer is and so forth. And another thing that you can do to help you just easily, get this done next time, if you do it once, you do it over and over again, is to create a template like this. Don't fill in the details just yet, but create a template, and of course save it as a file, and then whenever you want to, create a plan of attack, let's say for software development or some sort of software product or some sort of niche, whatever niche that you might have, then you can always create a duplicate of that and save it as, and create a duplicate and come through here and fill out all the information, such as the initial offer and the OTO and the email solo ad and everything like that. All right, so after that we got visitor receives the gift through email. And then number 6, we can customize that just a little more. So we got welcomes, gives gift, make sure that it sets the tone. So what's your 4 to 5 gifts or tips for the future? So then you can add from that point, new child node, tip number 1, tip number 2, tip number 3. And of course we got number 7, which is provide 4 to 5 tips. Now what I would do in the follow-up series, and I'll talk more about the follow-up series later on, but what I would do is every single email, like email number 2, I would say, here's email number 2, here's the tip number 2, but tip number 3 is coming up, so watch your email, and it's going to be about this. That way they know exactly what to expect in the future. And then of course we've got promote offers related to WordPress only. What I would do here is I would do a new child node, and then I would put a link to websites where I can find probably affiliate products, so jvzoo.com, or I could do clickbank.com, cj.com, shareasale.com, places where I could find offers that related to WordPress only. Because if you go into a different niche, it'll be different. Like ClickBank does a lot of intangible products, but if you want a tangible product and you're doing something on a different niche, it could be a CPA offer or anything like that. And basically just go there and fill this out. So when you create a new niche, a similar niche in the future, you can always go back to the sites instead of starting from scratch and trying to figure out what you need to do next. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, 4 is optional. You don't have to do that depending on your market. And if you're wondering how in the world can you do this, well, if you're getting them to your sign up on your list on Aweber or GetResponse, then what you need to do is the confirmation URL or the URL that you set where somebody signs up. The next URL basically needs to direct to the one-time offer itself. And then of course you can use JVZoo if you want to do the payment processing. You can use ClickBank or whatever. But that's the whole concept, is sign up, redirect to a one-time offer, and then accept payment. And then at the very bottom of that one-time offer, what you want to do is put a link to the gift. So that way you don't piss people off that are looking for the gift. Because remember, the reason why they're signing up is for the gift, for WordPress gift or whatever niche gift. So make sure that you get it to them. And then the secondary part is that you email it to them as well. And they'll have to go check their email, and they'll get an email that conditions them to receive emails from you. And there you go.